Come on, let's go.
Thank you, Mary.
How you doing? Put some smiles on your faces. You're welcome. How do you like our set?
This is really cute.
This is good.
Very Lagos.
Abba, what do you think? Very Lagos.
Well, I think I love the wood so much.
Right.
Does it remind you of home or something?
Actually, it does. My
really?
grandma.
You're welcome. Please sit.
Oh, thank you, Mary.
All right, so let's get right into it. Hello guys, hello Dina, hello Abba. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want you to begin, but I know you, but I want you to begin by introducing yourself to our audience.
Okay, well, my name is DEENA ADE. I'm a musician. I have a startup called TAF and a sexual rights activist.
All right, how about you, Abba?
Oh, thank you so much, Mary. And hi, Dina.
Hey.
Hey, good to meet you again. My name is ABBA Yerima Mustafa from Maiduguri. I'm a development worker.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, we want to talk about something that is very important, which is disinformation. Now, I don't want you to mix this up, so I'll just say there's a difference between misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is unknowingly spreading false information, while disinformation is deliberate. So I want to ask you, let me begin with you, Dina. How do you check to see if a news that you've heard or gotten or seen is false?
I think for me, the most important thing is always considering the source before anything. And I think I always, if I'm interested in the topic, I always must fact check from at least 1, 2, or 3 sources. I think that's the best way to avoid misinformation or disinformation.
How about you, Abba? How do you check for false stories?
Well, I think definitely just riding on Dina's back. I actually also do the same. I fact check, basically checking where the source of information is. But sometimes it can get tricky because even big brands, even BBC, sometimes have had this scenario where they take information and have posted it, and then it happens that it actually didn't happen.
Do you think fake news is a big problem? When I say big, I mean big. Do you think it's a big problem in Nigeria, Abba?
Yes, it's a very big issue if you have a country of more than 200 million people bathing with salt water. That's as far back as 2014. I mean, with the whole issue of Ebola, you have someone coming on Facebook saying, oh, Ebola is in this country, or everybody should bath with salt water, you'll be protected, or something along those lines. And before you know, knocking on the door, bang, bang, you know, get up. Your mother would go in with one big bowl and a packet of salt, or even asking it from the neighbor. And that's also how people lost their lives. People with high blood pressure are pushed to drink water with salt water because supposedly it's supposed to protect you from Ebola. And at that time, I could remember in 2014, I was quite young, and in my head, in my little dumb head, I'm like, okay, if I open the door next morning and I come out, people who didn't bath with salt water would be lying dead on the road. That's how the information came. Like, so it's really a very big issue, to be honest.
So Dina, what kind of fake news do you see the most when you open your phone in this era of the usage of phone, social media?
I see fake news on blogs. I see fake news on X, formerly Twitter, WhatsApp, news stations, and honestly some mouthpieces for our very government in this country. People are not doing their due diligence. People that are supposed to be held accountable are not doing their due diligence. The people see headlines and they run with it, they remix it, they use cognitive bias to decide what they think might have happened.
All right, Abba, let me ask you, as a young person, how do you think you can help stop the spread of fake news in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you so much, Mary. Just really loving the point of the Dina saying remixing information. Yes. that's quite a good one. I think young people have been doing a lot in this country to really combat disinformation. One of such initiatives is Dubawa. So Dubawa.org is, I think it's a Nigerian-led NGO that basically equips people with the skills and methodology to be able to detect, fake news and disinformation on the internet. news agencies such as PR Nigeria are doing. And if you look at the Department of Fact Checking, these are mostly led by young people. So to answer your question, young people have already been doing a lot to be able to see that disinformation doesn't really have the feet and the guts to come into our community to suppress us further.
I think the more curious you are, the more chance you are to find information that is actually viable and verifiable. And I think secondly, we are in an information era, and I think that we should look towards alternative means of media. YouTube, there are brilliant documentaries on ongoing issues that can really expand one's knowledge of what's really happening on a case, issue or matter. So I think that's very important.
I mean, we're in the age where I could start up a blog this minute. I could pick up my phone, start up a blog, open a Facebook account, and post things online. So I want you, DEENA, to run me through how you fact check. How do you go about fact checking, stories or news you see on social media?
Okay, let's say I read that such and such person has invested $100 million in a village in Oyo State. How do you do that? Who invested in this thing? You read through the article, you look for names. You go and look at what they're tied to. Oh, okay, this person has a history of investing in such and such. And you continue the process as such until you come to a conclusion. It's like when you're writing a paper for university or for school. You have to take different sources and come to a conclusion. But the truth is that outside of written articles by journalists, there's actually academic information online. It's very easy to fact check if you're interested.
Okay. I hope people who are watching would learn from what you've said. But apart from written texts, we see videos. People go as far as spilling false stories.
Definitely.
They, bloggers or vloggers, or what are they called nowadays? They go online, they make a recording of themselves, and then they put it online. So how can the government stop this?
The best way to do it, there are tools that are out there that you can use. You can just go on Google and look for maybe top 10 best tools to use to fact check videos or fact check text. One, I know of, for instance, the ability for you to use Google to reverse search images. You see a photo of maybe people lying down and guns pointed at them, and then somebody will use this with a catchy headline. Herdsmen kill 20 Igbos in northern Nigeria, for instance. And when you actually do a reverse Google search image, it might even be a movie in Hollywood, that this image is actually part of a Nollywood movie. I'm saying this because there are instances where I have seen those happening. So there are tools out there that people can be able to use.
Okay, let me ask you this final question, both of you. Now, briefly, please. Let's take it away from Nigeria and go international. How does fake news mess with global teamwork, between countries or amongst countries?
I think for somewhere like Nigeria, it has caused fear for people that want to visit.
True.
People are often surprised how friendly and welcoming Nigerians are because we have been branded as something that we're not by people that have agendas.
True.
So that's definitely a way I think it has affected us, and it has economic consequences.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. ABBA, how about you? What do you think? How has this caused problems between countries?
Well, I mean, briefly, top of my head, I think from what you said, taking it up globally, as you said, is the war in Ukraine. We have seen how many Ukrainians have moved to neighboring European countries like Czech Republic, like Poland, but then they are associated, with criminal activities, and then also people are disinformed that people from Ukraine that are here are actually taking up more spaces, and then our government cannot be able to meet our social needs. But the people in these countries are disinformed about the whole issue itself, and then Ukrainians who have migrated from their country because of war have to pay, certain types of prices in this. And I think this is one of the things I would be able to really say at the top of my head.
All right.